Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Our body, mind, intellect, all made up of matter, the 5 elements. Body from the gross elements, the subtle body, mind and intellect with the subtle elements. Body, prana, the energy in the body, mind and intellect, they are all linked together. They are all connected together. You know that when your body is ill, your mind also is agitated, dull. At the same time, when your mind is agitated, your body falls sick. So you can see the connection. Between the mind and the breath also, you can see the connection. Between the breath and the body also, you can see the connection. When body is ill, your breath is shallow, erratic. As your breath is shallow and erratic, your mind also becomes erratic. So all these are linked, and only when the mind is steady can the intellect function. You know, all this Bhagavan has already said in the Geeta. Yeah. So these are all connected together. Therefore, wherever you are, at whatever level you may be, and whatever sadhana you can practice, or you are introduced to certain sadhana, what is important to remember what? For any action to become a yajna, gratitude, and the spirit of idam na mama. Even religious or spiritual practices you do with ego and egocentric, selfish desires, it does not give you the elimination of the vasanas, the peace of the mind, the integration of the mind and intellect. All these things that we have explained, now you must always bring that back. Our rishis, knowing these connections, in fact, Bhagavan Krishna says every action, even your natural actions such as breathing and eating, can be made into a yajna if the attitude in it is right and we know the right practice of it. Now, Bhagavan continues to say what we commonly known as pranayama.
Apane juhvati pranam prane panam tatha pare pranapanagati ruddhva pranayama parayanaha
As we said, Bhagwan is using the language of yajna so that we remember that what is being offered to what. Yeah? So, Bhagwan says, what is pranayama? That when you breathe in, it's called as purak, and what you breathe in and what you breathe out, rechak, and what you hold within yourself, kumbhak. I think Swamiji has already explained all this to you. That's why, don't worry, all this has been covered. Yeah? So, prana pana gati ruddhva pranayama parayanaha. So, those who are dedicated to pranayama, they practice the regulation of prana and with proper rhythm, how much breath to take in, how much breath to take out, how long to hold within. Naturally it is happening. If you watch children, you watch animals, this is naturally happening. But because we live such an unnatural life today, even our breathing is shallow. Our breathing is not even rhythmic. Now, as such, pranayama is not just breath, and people translate it breath control. Gurudev laughingly used to say, please don't eat up your R and switch it around. That's why I used to say, Keralites do. Breath control, not birth control. And rather than using the word control, it is breath regulation. Because the flow of breath has to continue. And the rishis discovered so many different regulations of breath. And as your breath is harmonized, so also the energy is harmonized in the body. So with yama, niyama, you don't pollute the body. Through asanas, you stretch and open up your nadis, your meridians or your, nerves, you stretch them so that when you do pranayama also helps you to detoxify. It also helps you to open the nadis, but if the nadis are not open and very much blocked, then when the pressure of the breath comes, of the energy comes, it can cause problems. Therefore, it has to be done systematically. When you say, pranayama parayanaha, that dedicated to pranayama, which also means that they are doing it with proper knowledge, understanding of the subtleties of it also. Yeah? So, all that has been explained. Some simple techniques of pranayama has been taught to you. But as Gurudev said, it is not just breath. Respiration is just one of the prana. It's a primary prana. Then there is apana, when you say outgoing breath, as well as the breath that goes downwards, by which your excretion takes place. So prana, apana, vyana, circulation, samana, digestion, and uddana, just as evacuation, when sudden evacuation takes place, that is uddana vayu. So all these constitute the 5 pranas, and it is these 5 pranas that energize the body. And when the prana is in harmony, the body is healthy. When the body is healthy, the pranas also can flow properly. But there is a link between prana and mind also. When you are angry, how is your breath? dragon breath. Even the temperature of your breath. One of the methods of controlling anger, Guruji must have pointed out to today so hilariously how to control anger. But one of the thing is that when you get angry, you start remembering this session. Yeah, watch your breath. Feel your breath. You'll forget why you are angry. But you know how your breath has become so forceful, so erratic, as well as it becomes hot. All this, if you watch how the breath, the pranas, and therefore after an anger bout, how you get completely exhausted. But at the same time, the mental emotion affects your breathing, and if you can regulate your breathing, it can also affect the mind. And therefore the rishis taught certain pranayama by which eventually your mind can be brought to a state of laya, a state of quietude. It's not the silence of the Atma, it's not a permanent state, but you can bring your mind to a state of quietude. And when you bring your mind to a state of quietude, there is where spontaneous knowledge takes place. Means your intellect functions so subtly that understanding takes place. Contemplation is possible. So after the mind has come to a state of laya, there we must then contemplate on the words of the Guru, the scriptures, the indicators of Atma, the indicators of truth. And that is not, this debating kind of, chatter that goes on in our intellect. So that's how pranayama leads you to, again, quietude of mind. And in that quietude of mind also, people are so interesting about doing pranayama, and then my asthma will go and this will go. The whole idea is to quieten your mind. If it agitates your mind, it is not even worth it. So when your mind is quiet, that peace that you are actually seeking through objects of desires, because your mind is so agitated with desire, you realize that you have it with you. Detachment also takes place easily. So, you see, I'm just trying to briefly point out to you, the technique has been pointed out to you. And the easiest technique, this doesn't mean that you should not do your Nadi Shodhan or whatever it is. But really speaking, pranayama, especially Kumbhaka and others, holding breath and all that, please don't do it until unless you've got proper guidance, and yama niyamas are also followed. But simple pranayama, but Gurudev, Ramana Maharishi and other great acharyas have pointed out that anybody can follow. It's called as prana ikshanam. Just like when a child is restless, you just look at it and keep looking at it. See how it happens? Just watch your breath. Keep your body steady. These are all preparations for meditation. Keep your body steady. If your body is not moving, mind also becomes steady. Body-mind connection. When your mind is quiet like now, you will not be moving. And those who are moving, the mind is not quiet. So these are the relationships with them. So some by regulating their breath. So when you watch your breath for some time, it will automatically regulate itself. And since breath is not associated with something or some memory, etc., your mind concentrated on the breath becomes quiet. One is the breath becomes natural, rhythmic, and the mind becomes quiet and concentrated. And such a mind where it is quiet and concentrated in such a peace of mind, many of your unnecessary desires suddenly become redundant to you only. The vairagya also comes in if you practice these properly. Your health also improves. See, since we do contemplation, we practice this very short time, even those who have been taught, we do it very short time and okay, mind is quiet, now instead get into activity. I finally met one woman who in one of our Chinmaya Mission sessions had heard about this prana ikshanam. And she was diagnosed with fourth stage cancer. So with that thought, not even thinking about curing herself, that at least now I must practice something spiritual. So she started only this thing she understood and only this much she started. And as she practiced this, her cancer disappeared. So how much of our diseases, even like cancer, are linked with the mind? I do not know if it's there in stock, get the book Journey into Health. It's there both in English as well as in Hindi. Read it and see the mind-body illness connection. So this is how pranayama helps. Now, another prana is digestion, consumption of food. And remember, this body is made up of food. Therefore, what you eat, how much you eat, and when you eat. So Bhagavan says now in the next verse,
अपरे नियताहाराः प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति सर्वेऽप्येते यज्ञविदः यज्ञक्षपितकल्मषाः.
apare, there are other niyata aharaha. With regulated diet, pranan praneshu juhvati. They offer the vital air, the life breath, into the prana. Again, I said it's in the language of yajna. Don't get confused. I will explain what is this yajna. Sarve api ete yajna vidaha. There are some in Uno Pranayam, they connect the two verses and they say that first one is Purak, Rechak, then this is Kumbhak. That also they say. That's why Pranan Praneshu Juvati. Prana is offered to prana, which means it is held within only. Some commentators say that. But let us explain to you how diet, proper diet, not only naturally is instrumental in your good health, but also in your mental health. A lot of us we are seeing with our younger generation about mental health. A lot of it is even diet oriented. Okay? Sarve api ete yajna vidaha yajna kshapita kalmashaha. Means all those who practice any of these yajnas, and as I said, there are many other practices, they are in fact knowers of these yajnas, also called sometimes as yoga, or we say sadhanas, as well as done in the right spirit. Every action is a karma yoga. And what is the result of karma yoga? Kshapita kalmashaha. Their mental agitations, the very cause of their mental agitations, likes, dislikes, desires, results of past actions, notions, false expectations, all that come from these vasanas that cause agitation in the mind, make the mind extrovert, by which we do not come to realize the inner self, through these yagyas, these vasanas are eliminated. And now we've even shown you the sequence. But what's the use of knowing the whole recipe unless you practice? And therefore, acharyas have said that yagya vidaha, knower of yagya, means those who are practitioners of yagya. Mere theoretical, scholastic knowledge. And if you know it, you will practice it. If you really know it, know its benefit. And when you practice it, then only you really come to know what it is, what is its benefit. Now, these days, so I tell you, any course on dieting, any place, so overeat at home, and then go to some place, pay a lot for eating less. But you come back with good health. Niyata ahara. In Yoga Shastra, it is clearly said, even in the 6th chapter of meditation, Sri Krishna says, those who eat too much, for them, meditation or yoga is not possible. Those who eat too less also. Today, anorexia and such things, those who do too much over fasting without knowing what fasting is and don't eat food, not only physically they are sick, but mentally also they become sick, because your brain also requires, which is the hardware through which your mind functions, it requires certain nutrition. So you see how your body, food and mind is connected. I don't need many proof to say that. After all, what is alcohol? Wine? It's a drink, it's a food, isn't it? You can know what it does to your mind, right? Every food that we eat, the subtle part of it goes to make our mind. Excess of food, also when you eat in so much, like you can watch them now, those who went and did eat. Even if they're not sleepy, restless. Later on also it is said about sattvic, rajasic, tamasic people, what type of food they desire and they eat. Those who eat too much and those who eat too less. Not only physical illnesses, restlessness, etc. It affects the prana, your energy level also, your performance in the world. That's why, after eating a very heavy lunch, chole. Thank God there was no batures with it. Chole, bature you eat. After that, what happens? Now people will say, Swamiji, afternoon, no class? We know. Even that food, if you eat in limit, but just because it is tasty, we all have a tendency. If it's salty, if it's sweet, you can just go on eating. You eat heavy food. Today, so now in diabetes and all that, it is clearly pointed out that when you eat more than what is needed by you, there are other forms of diabetes also, then slowly, you start storing all this. Whether it is fat, whether it is visceral fat, it starts happening. It happens to all of us because we do not even know what we are eating. We don't even know how much we should be eating. That's why you go to a fine dining restaurant, they give you such little food. And yet, you come back feeling quite satisfied. Not because you paid a very heavy bill. Because they paste the food, they give little, and when you take little in your plate and that's all what you're going to get, you savor the food. You allow the food to digest in your mouth. The sugar already reaches your brain and says, this is enough. Because if it goes into the stomach, it takes a lot of time to digest by the time it reaches the brain. This is all today, even modern science is telling us. Our rishis and in Ayurveda, they already knew all this. No? So those who eat too much and those who eat too less. That's what Gurudev said, if Siddhartha would have studied the Bhagavad Gita, he didn't need the boatman to tell him that if the string is too tight, it will break. If it is too loose, there will be no music. Therefore, niyata, first of all, well measured, well regulated. And it is said that you should fill only half your, when you eat, first of all, chew your food. And first I will say is, look at your food. Take only little on your plate. Finish it. If you want more, you still feel, take little more. But see your food. Someday you will feel even things which you like, you'll only feel you don't need it. In animals, this natural instinct is there. If a lion has eaten its meal, the next animal is just nearby, it will not attack it. It will not waste its energy because that food is going to decay. Now you've got refrigerators, so you like eating decayed food. They don't store food. And when they've had their fill, they leave it for the hyenas, go eat it. No? Eat little by. Now, it happens to all of us. We get into a mechanical mode of eating, eating the same thing, and then eating a lot of it. No? Now, I'm not going to go into the whole thing of it, but first of all, proportion of what we eat. Today they have calorie counts and all that. Yeah. Proportion of what we eat. Or how much we eat. So as a measure given by where there was no calorie measures and all that, it was said that grains you must eat only as much as that which fits in your fist. They give those kind of measures. Now that you've got these machines and no calories, this, that, same principle. Our rishis knew it, our Ayurvedic Vaidyas knew it. So how much you must eat, what you must eat. Again, there is no such thing as a universal diet. According to your climate, according to your age, even according to your gender. When women eat a lot of sour, and they like naturally sour things. Yeah? But when men eat a lot of sour things, it affects them. After a certain age also, osteoporosis, all these things. So really speaking, we had a complete science of balanced diet. And also how that food affects the mind. So first of all, half your stomach with solid, quarter with liquid such as soup. Don't drink too much water. Sip a little water so there is no dryness. But whether it is chas, and chas is not lassi. Lassi is solid. Yeah? Chas is not solid. Okay? Just to give you a few hints. Quarter with liquids. And leave quarter for the prana, the air to move it, where it is filled up till here. Yeah. Even the choles that are creating gas have nowhere to move. So naturally, where will they go? Leaky gut. Yeah, you're all familiar with these things, right, nowadays. They will push into your gut, they will push into your nervous system, they'll push into your arteries, veins, etc., whatever, wherever they can push in, because there's no place for them to move. Yeah. So what you eat, how much you eat. So one thing is how much. Then when you eat also, we are nibbling all the time, all the time, all the time. In fact, only when you are hungry should you eat. But since we have got work to do, we are not like the animals that when you get food you will eat. Therefore, pace your food. Nothing should be eaten at least 4 hours, or 6 hours after your meal. Also, it is said that when the sun is there, the fire in the stomach is there. After the sun sets. Now when you say sunrise and sunset, the few, an hour before and after is also considered to be sun. So right after sunset also if you eat, that's fine. But after late night eating, when you're young, your liver can cope up with it. Do you know your liver has got a stress factor of I don't know how many times, like the stage. If you expect, say 1,000 kilos to be on this stage, the stage you will get permission to build if it can take at least 10 times more that weight so that you don't. Our liver has about 1,000 or 4,000, something I read years ago, capacity. If today people are having fatty liver, cirrhosis of liver, it only shows how much we must have abused that liver. And all ancient sciences, Ayurveda definitely has, according to Vata, Pitta, Kava, Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. But one, with modern, because we could understand only modern, the excess sodium, the sodium and potassium has to have balance in your body. Excess sodium creates acidosis. Excess potassium creates alkaline. Your body balance is slightly alkaline. Now, you need both. From cooked food, not just salt, you get sodium. From uncooked fruit, like fruits or salads, you get potassium. Now, according to your body type and whatever imbalance have taken place, even modern scientists have realized that not only various diseases such as hypertension, diabetes, etc., these all happen due to acidosis. That's why those who go on salad diet, fruit diet, suddenly their blood pressure and all comes down also. Just putting in very basic terms. But if somebody who's alkaline takes it, the condition will get worse. The salad diet is not for everybody. You must be able to understand where your body. So when you have gone extreme acidosis, suddenly with these diet you will see, and any diet you change, because you stop something and start something new, naturally what was causing it will reduce. You restart it, it will start. So these balances you can see in the body, but they have detected that even mental cases. Cancer is there on both types, both sides. Therefore, some cancers get cured, some cancers do not get cured with chemotherapy. Because they are different, they may be the same, this cancer or that cancer, but it doesn't get cured. Then, also acidosis, finally criminal. Extreme cases, murderers. Therefore, when in Indian, jails, some of our jailers have introduced vegetarian diet, etc., and they've seen amazing results because that aggressiveness that comes in them, and they have transformed. So mentally also how it affects. And too alkaline, suicidal. Therefore anorexic people and all that, no? Depression, suicidal, all these comes about. So I'm just giving you a general that how your body and food is also connected. Therefore these extreme diets to become slim or size 0, girls, please watch out. Yeah? And boys, too much protein for 6 packs. Yeah? Watch out. Excessive of anything. So now you understand? And through the diet, your mind can also be, when the mind is calm, Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Negativities of the mind is gone, the capacity of the intellect to know increases. Now, that's why any of these practices that people do, they indeed are knowers of yajna. And by this, Bhagavan shows that anything that we do in our natural lifestyle can be made into a yajna, from breathing to eating. And that's why we chant Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavi, Annam na Nindyat, don't waste food. If you don't waste food, you will not take excess in your plate that you have to waste. You will eat the right amount. All these things that has been pointed out in our culture is all part of yoga, yajna. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.